Okay, so property taxes, it was announced that your property rates are going up by a considerable amount in in Davidson County, by an average of 45%. By state law, and I just want to explain this to you real quickly. So there is an act called the Truth in Taxation Act in the state of Tennessee. State law prevents this amount of increase to the consumer from Davidson County. So state law prohibits them from going up on property tax rates by 45%, despite the fact that the property evaluation has gone up by 45%. So what they have to do is they have to zero it out. They have to go down by property tax rates consistent with the amount of money that your property is being overvalued, meaning that it zeroes out at that point. The Truth in Taxation Act ensures that you're not paying more, you're not paying less, but you're not paying more. But what is going to happen, because that Truth in Taxation Act has to kick in, is that the people within Davidson County and the mayor's office are going to claim that they have to go back up on the property tax rates because state law requires them to go down. Does that make sense to everyone? Because the rate is going up, because your evaluation is going up by 45%, state law does not allow them to go up by that amount in any given year in your property taxes. So they have to go down in their property tax rates in order to account for the increase in the value of your home. Well, when they do that, they're then, after that happens, they're going to go back up on the rates afterwards, and they're going to suggest that they have to do that to zero out. It's already been zeroed out based on the property tax evaluation. They are going up on your property taxes without question. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Heather is up next. Thank you for your hold, Heather. I'm glad you did. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what you just explained, but I'll tell you what happened to us. We have commercial property in Davidson County, kind of over near the zoo, it's less than an acre. And several years ago, I think it was about 4 years ago, when the property tax changed, they said they were going up like 20-something%. So we had been for years paying in the $8,000 or $9,000 range a year for our property. Well, so you think a 20% increase? Well, okay, we can handle that. But the problem is that then the assessment also went up, and our property tax more than doubled on that property from under $9,000 to what we are paying now, over $20,000.
Oh my goodness!
So, and that was in 1 year. That was an increase in 1 year. So, if we've got another one coming this soon, I mean, that was just about 4 years ago. You know, I just don't get it. I wish that I knew what the city was doing with the property tax money, because I know when there was a big story about them closing the Ernest Tubb record shop down there, and I looked up the property tax down there at that building down on Broadway, and it was like $40,000 a year. I'm like, who can pay that, and what are they doing with the money if every one of those buildings down there is paying $40,000 plus everything else in the county?
So let me try. I mean, you're right in assuming that your rates are about to go up again, or that the total amount is about to go up again. But I'll try to explain it one more time. So the assessment has gone up. So they're claiming that your property is more valuable than it was 4 years ago, and that's fine. The state requires, through the Truth in Taxation Act, that the state establishes the tax rate, and the tax rate has to be revenue neutral from last year to this year. So because your value on your property is going up, the rates are going to go down. Does that make sense? So that you're neutralized out. In other words, you're going to pay the same amount of money, even though the rates go down. So if you were paying $20,000 last year, you'll pay $20,000 this year, until Mayor Freddie O'Connell recommends a rate increase. And that is separate from what's going on with assessment. And when he recommends that increase, he's going to claim that the only reason he's doing an increase is because the rates have gone down. But the rates only go down because the assessed value has gone up so much. So it is going to be it's going to amount to a property tax increase for you this year, Heather.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
No, it's not. I mean, no, but watch what they do. They're going to claim that They're just leveling it back up to where it used to be. And they're going to claim, oh, we're not doing anything. The state made us go down to this percentage, and we're just getting it back up to the percentage where it used to be. And they're going to act like that's zeroing it out. The mayor is going, and thank you, Heather, for the call. And I hope I'm making sense here. The mayor is going to try to claim that they're not raising your property taxes. They're just getting them back to where they were. They are absolutely raising your property taxes. The state prevents them from going up by 45% just because the assessment went up by 45%. So the state forces them on the certified tax rate. If your property gets assessed at 50% more than its current value, it forces them to go down in the rate consistent with the increased amount of money that you would pay. So that levels it out, right? Well, the mayor and the Metro Council can't have that. They don't want the same amount of money that they got last year. They want more money. And so in order to get more money, they're going to go up on your property taxes. They're going to increase the rate, and they'll yell and scream about, oh, we're just getting it back to where it was. We're just getting it back to where it was. No, because the assessed value was so much more. They are, in effect, raising your property taxes. Okay? Now, I hope that makes sense to everyone. The second thing that they're going to do, as sure as I am sitting here, and they're already starting to do it, they are going to blame Donald Trump for all of this. I predicted it last week. I was at an event last week at for the Americans for Prosperity folks invited me to a property tax conversation involving Davidson County. And I was there, and I predicted it last week. They are going to blame Donald Trump, and they're already doing it. This was sent to me by a loyal listener, and it is from District 7 Councilwoman Emily Benedict. And what I predicted is that they're going up on your property taxing rates, and they're going up on your bills, and they're going to blame Trump, saying, well, all of this federal money that they're cutting, we got to make up for all those federal dollars. We got to make up for all these grants that we're not getting anymore in Nashville. And what are we going to do without all of that money? Well, how about cut your budgets? How about live within your means? How about we can't afford it? How about you're already bleeding people out of Davidson County, and more people are going to leave? You go up on property taxes again, and if you don't think because you live in Wilson County or Sumner County, if you don't think because you live in Rutherford County or Murray County or what, it's going to impact you too, because more people are about to move into your communities. More people on your roads. More people utilizing city services. Now, that's maybe all well and good, and that's fine, and y'all can handle it. But the more that the city of Nashville and the Davidson County Metro Council does this, the more people will leave that have the ability to leave. Anyway, so here's Emily Benedict. As predicted by me, they're going to blame Trump. Here's the email. This was someone that reached out to Emily Benedict and asked about the property tax increases that are expected. And Benedict responded, "Thank you for reaching out to me. Tax increases are one of the hardest decisions we make at council, and one that I support only with the greatest of caution. Last year, every department had to show a savings before their budgets were fulfilled just to keep the lights on for services that our residents want. Here is guidance from the mayor's office to department heads specific to upcoming budget requests for FY26. Here's an infographic of the 2020, she's including links and all of this, of the 2025 budget showing revenues, expenditures, department breakdown. Additionally, here is a link to the entire Citizen's Guide to the budget if you want to dig deeper. During the month of May, we will conduct hearings with all major departments, and that's where we will see what gaps there are, including any leftover revenue that a department may have from the current fiscal year." And this is the portion I wanted to read to you. "The biggest gap that we're going to see this year is in the federal cuts being made to health, education, and housing. If the federal government won't send our income taxes back to the states, and I haven't heard of any tax cut yet, Donald Trump's trying to make tax cuts permanent. What are you talking about, lady? You haven't heard about that? If we want to continue our city services, then we will have to pay for them somehow. I anticipate the changes by the current administration in Washington, D.C. will have a significant negative impact on our ability to pay for things locally. If we want police, fire, roads, education, affordable housing, parks, trash, and more, then we are going to have to fund them locally. As tourism declines, what? Reportedly due to immigration policies, we can't rely on our sales tax revenue to grow like it has in the past. So they're blaming Trump and his crackdown on immigration and his crackdown on overspending by the federal government as why your taxes are going up, as predicted by me.